Hello. This is the start of a possibly short, possibly long devlog series regarding the creation of my new Minecraft data pack, Minecraft Master Mode. The idea of this data pack is to make the game harder. I've always thought it was too easy. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna make it harder, and it's not gonna be such a walk in the park to play anymore. And I want to make it harder in ways that are fun, engaging, and interesting, and change the way that you interact with the Minecraft world in general. Um, Whether or not I will see this project to completion or not is up in the air. I'm just doing this as, just like a fun little thing on the side, just to see. I mean, how it'll pan out. I've tried to make a Minecraft Expert Mode data pack before. In fact, I have made a Minecraft Expert Mode data pack. But I lost motivation deep into the process when I realized that there was a way easier and like simpler way to do what I was already doing. But in order to fix it, to get it to the capacity where I wanted it, to make the code more manageable, to make everything more streamlined, I would have had to uproot everything I had worked on up to that point, and it kind of just killed my entire motivation to work on the project. But here I am, back over a year later, and I got some ideas, some new ways to approach things, some lessons learned from the previous data pack, and hopefully this one will be a lot cooler. This time around, I'm also recording it and posting my findings and whatever. So, oh, I'm in water now. Oh my god. Okay, I ruined the whole intro. It's fine. So yeah, here I am in a new world. We're gonna make the game harder to play by making mobs more interesting, have new mechanics, maybe something like that. My command experience is limited, but I've made a handful of smaller data packs before. One of which is Mona's Brews, which will be linked in the description if you want to check it out, but I don't recommend it because it is also old and janky and not my best work either. But I'll still have it there, just because I'm still a little proud of it, so, Anyway, here's the idea. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with modifying various mobs, right? Ideally, we'll take, like, a zombie, for example, and we'll make the zombies faster. We'll make them have more health. We'll make them do whatever. But I don't want to make them just a straight stat improvement. I want there to be, like, strengths and weaknesses to each variant of a mob that I make. And I also want all of these to be RNG dependent. It'd be cool to have a zombie that's super strong and super fast and super abled, but it's really rare, Or a zombie that's really weak and really fast or whatever, but that's like more common, Things like that. We have, with the tools that Minecraft data packs give us, we have a lot of freedom to determine these things. So here's the idea of how we're going to get this to work. It's very simple. Let's start with the execute command, which is like the best command ever because it lets us run commands as different entities and lets us just, there's so much potential. It's like probably the most important command in the game, if I'm honest. But what we can do with the execute command is we could say execute as zombie, and this is just like spitballing right now because I'm not gonna like type it all out here. But say, so as any zombie that spawns in, they're going to be running the following command. They're going to say, hey, if I haven't been modified yet, so if I do not have a tag called modified, I'm going to go and run a function that makes me cool. Right? And then after that, at the end of the function, it'll be like, hey, I'm modified now, right? And so that way, it won't continue to run the same zombie through the same set of commands over and over, or a different set of commands, and making it like a huge, what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know. A huge garbled mess of whatever. So we'll start over here with Visual Studio Code. Now I've already put together like the basic shell of what a data pack is. You have your obligatory data folder, which contains, all of the fundamentals, right? We've got the load and tick files, which are like pertinent to the actual functioning of the data pack altogether. The tick will run any commands in this file every tick, and the load is just whenever you type in the /reload command or actually load the pack for the first time, it'll run whatever's in this file. So Here we have the difficulty set to hard. This will be the base difficulty that we'll be building off of, and we'll be making it harder or adjusting it or whatever. So all of the balancing and everything that comes with it will be built off of hard mode as like the default setting. So you could theoretically make it normal mode, and it would theoretically make certain aspects of the game easier, but it would also like kind of ruin the balancing that I'm trying to implement. Am I good at balancing? Maybe. We're gonna find out. We also have the game rule here, which is just going to modify the fixed speed to be 1. It's 3 by default, and what this does is basically changes the rate at which crops and things like that will grow. Among other, like, random things. A lot of it just pertains to how fast things grow and change in the world. So it also pertains to, like, fire and fire spreading, which is, like, a caveat, I guess. But the idea is food will grow slower, so it's not as easy to come by. And then we also have the pack.mc meta, which is just, like, just displaying information about the pack itself, so when you're actually in the game, you can actually see, like, what the pack description, like, actually is. Here, this is taken from Indiana Jones. It's also a reference to the Terraria Master Mode description, and I thought it was a fitting, fun little thing. Pack format here is for the version of the game we're playing. So this is currently being recorded in 26.2, Minecraft version 26.2, which uses pack format 107.1 for whatever reason, and they keep changing it. So anytime you want to come and update the data pack, you have to go in and change this number, and it gets a little annoying to have to open it, change it, pack it up, and send it out every single time. But you know, it's fine. It's kind of just what comes with this. So anyway, we're going to start with the zombie. We're going to start simple. We're not going to start too difficult. So this is the tick file. So as I said, this will run any commands that are in this file, every tick, all the time, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a zombie. So we'll say execute as @e type equals zombie. And we'll also only target them if they have a tag that isn't modified. So if they don't have a tag called modified, then it'll modify them, right? So execute as a zombie, run function, and then what is this? That's this. Oh yeah. And then it'll load a function. So we're gonna have a function in here. We're gonna call it we'll call it zombie.mc function. Right? And then we'll go back over here and we'll run function zombie.mc function. Master mode entity zombie. So yeah, here you go. Master, yeah, there it is. So now it'll load this function. And we'll just to test, we'll have it say hi. Right? And we'll say both the that did not spell hi correctly. That's embarrassing. Okay. We'll say hi. Right? And that'll be good. So we'll head back over to Minecraft now. So with all hopes now, when we spawn in a zombie, or when there is a zombie in the world, after we end up reloading the pack that is, the zombie will say hi. Well, I'm not even going to spawn a zombie. There should just be zombies sitting around underground. So if I say reload, it should just make the zombie say hi. And they're saying hi. So right now we don't have a stopper for them saying hi, so they are just going to continue to say it until we add in the tag that says, hey, I've been modified and I don't need to say hi anymore. I mean, obviously they're not going to say hi in the finalized like version of the pack, but this is just to see if we can get them to do the thing that we want them to do, which they in fact do. So that's a good start. All right, so I went ahead and added a new scoreboard, which is going to generate random numbers that we'll be able to draw from. So we'll do a random roll and we'll assign it to a scoreboard value, and then the zombie will detect and say, hey, is the scoreboard value this value or in this range of values? If so, do this thing and whatever. So if we come over here to the zombie function, we already have the modified tag going to be applied. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say execute if score @s random is equal to whatever, say 1. Then we're going to run something, right? Okay, so I took a bunch of tweaking and a ton of looking back at my horribly shoddy command work from my previous iteration of this data pack, but I think I have a result that works. So basically what's going to happen is every time the command is run to modify a zombie, it's going to give the tag that the zombie has been modified, so that way it's not going to run again. This is a scoreboard, this is a player. So the score is going to be saved on the player under the scoreboard, and here's how we're getting the score. We're going to run the command random, and it's going to be a random value, and that value is going to be a random number, integer value between 1 and 100,000. Now, I could make it say 1 and 100, and then I can run a command that's like, oh, if your random number is 1, then you're going to do this. If your random number is 2399, do this thing, you know, whatever. But if I want to get really specific with the percentages of of what's likely to happen, I would want a bit more leeway to play with the numbers a bit. So I'm going to set it to 100,000 just so I have more options. You know what I mean? Because I don't want things to just be a 1 in 100 chance. Like, what if I want something to be like a 1 in 200 chance? And then suddenly I would need to tweak the values and whatever. But with this, I can just say, like, okay, if it's within this threshold, then boom, you know, whatever. And 100,000 is easy to convert decimals into, like, whole numbers. So if I wanted to have, like, a, you know, say an 8.25% chance, that would be easy to translate into a base 10 number, such as 100,000. So it's... So, yeah. It'll work like that. Or, sorry, not a base 10 number, a power of 10 number. Okay, so I think I've concocted the right thing. I've made a couple changes here. I changed this to, say, random number instead, just so that we're reducing confusion. And I changed the hashtag zombie score holder to hashtag random, because if we're going to be rolling the number every time a function is ran by any entity, and the number is getting, you know, randomized every single time, it doesn't necessarily need to... There doesn't necessarily need to be a specifically zombie random number holder. It's an arbitrary number that we're going to use once. So it doesn't necessarily need to be all special and specific and whatever. So I've written here, it's going to grab a random number between 1 and 100,000. And if that number is between 1 and 25,000, it is going to run this next function, which is going to give the zombie a golden helmet. Now, I haven't written this down yet, but this is kind of my line of thinking. So this is obviously just a test to make sure I've gotten my, you know, my command skills are still intact. But with all hopes, once I type this out and I run the command in-game, we'll see that roughly 1/4 of zombies have a gold helmet. So using a program called MC Stacker, which is also a website, I bought the pro version because I wanted to support the guy who made it, because this is low-key a really useful tool. I bought this, and using it, we're going to generate a command that's basically going to give this zombie a golden helmet. So we're going to start with a zombie, and literally all we need to do is go in and say, hey, what's in the head slot? It's going to be a gold helmet. Here we go. Boom. The drop-down menu didn't show up on the OBS. It's fine. Whatever. Golden helmet. You can see in the top right, here's our command. So data merge entity, @e type equals zombie, equipment head, ID, Minecraft golden helmet, count 1. So then all you will need to do is go back to over here, and it should just be that. Oh, hold on, wait. Change this out. We can just swap some things around. There we go. And so now, if we save, and then go back to Minecraft with all hopes. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, we have to reload too. Reload. And then roughly 1/4 of zombies should have a golden helmet. This guy did not get one, but if I spawn one in, maybe. Oh my god. Look at that. That's incredibly loud in my ears. But hey, I don't know about it being 1/4. That seems a lot less than 1/4, but that's something that works. That works. That's good. I really have to turn my sound down. Jeez, that is terrible. But hey, we have something that's working. We're off to a great start. Now we actually have to think about how we're going to make the zombies actually behave, because that was just a test, of course. Okay, so I've come up with an idea for a new variant of zombie that isn't the basic gold helmet, boring, whatever variant, which is just a zombie that's has a chance to be inherently tankier than a normal zombie. It'll have 4 inherent armor points and 6 armor toughness, which is the equivalent of 2 pieces of netherite armor worth of armor toughness, which is a kind of hard to explain mechanic that I'm not going to get into because it'll take too long for me to stumble my way through an explanation. 6 attack damage. I did some testing with the zombie in just normal gameplay just now, and it does 4 attack damage. This one will do 6. And it'll also be 15% larger and have 35 health as opposed to the normal zombie's 20 health. So using MC Stacker, we can just copy this command over here, and then we can head back over to VS Code. And what we'll be able to do is just throw this in, and it should be good. My mouse has been kind of bugging lately. I'm not sure why it's like jittering so much. Anyway, we can change this out to say @s, because that's what we're modifying, just the executor of the command. And that way we'll have probably a tankier zombie, and that'll be cool. Okay, so with all hopes, this will be good. Let's find out. So there's a 25% chance that it'll be a tanky zombie. That wasn't one. That wasn't one. That wasn't one. One of these days. Wait a minute. That guy has a gold helmet. Hold on. I didn't reload the pack. That's what I get for not reloading the pack. When you reload the pack. Okay. Try again. So now we should see one that's like slightly larger than the rest here. And there he is. He still has a gold helmet. That's interesting. But you can see at a distance they're slightly larger. And will do slightly more damage if I go in survival and I let it hit me here. It should do 3 hearts. Whoa, that does a lot. Hold on a minute. That's not right. Wait a second. Okay, I did a little bit of debugging and I fixed a couple of issues. The primary issue was that my audio was too loud, so I turned that down. But the secondary issue was that all of the tanks were spawning with a gold helmet. And that was because I forgot to remove the gold helmet from the head slot here. I just didn't take it off. So there's that. But now I'm running into a third problem. And the third problem is that the zombie that's the tank does way too much damage. So I have its damage set to 6, which would make you think, oh, when it hits you, it'll do 3 hearts of damage. A normal zombie does 2 hearts in hard mode, which is what I was testing earlier. But when I got hit by a zombie that was the tank, it did 4.5 hearts of damage, which is 9. Which is weird. If a normal zombie does 4 damage, and this has an attack damage of 6, it should be doing... So maybe it's adding the numbers together. The 4 and the 6 is like 10, and that's... which is close to 9. Hey, that makes sense. Let's do some research to figure out what the hell attack damage actually does. Okay, so we're here on the Minecraft wiki, and I'm looking at the attack damage attribute here. And it says here in this graph that the zombie does in fact have the attack damage attribute, and it says that the base value is 3. Keep that in mind. Come over to the difficulty, because we're building us off of hard mode, right? And it says over here that mobs will do roughly 1.5 times the damage they would on normal difficulty, which I realize is an incredibly vague and not that good just like measurement. Approximately 1.5 is so unbelievably vague. I suppose it doesn't matter that the zombie is doing more damage than intended, because all I will have to do is fine-tune the attack damage attribute until I get an amount of damage that I'm happy with, and then we can call it good. So we'll just do that. Okay, so now we have a zombie whose damage has been tweaked a little bit, so now they do a far more reasonable 3.5 hearts of damage as opposed to... as opposed to the 4.5 that they were doing before. And all I did was tweak the attack damage attribute by 1. I lessened it by a single little bit, and now it's doing far more reasonable amounts of damage. Let me just verify. Oh, that one's doing... That's not a big one. Where's the big one? I guess we'll never know. It's fine. Problem solved. All good. So now that we have like a decently working tank version of the zombie, I'd like to tweak it a little bit to make it into a sort of more recognizable version. While one is drastically larger than the other, 15% is a lot. Jesus, that's a really tall zombie. We got to do something to make it stand out a little bit more in some way. So we'll see what we can do. I'm thinking, I mean, all I would really have to do is tweak the armor values a bit more and then just give it a helmet or some other just means of signifying that it packs more of a punch and is more of a threat than just the basic, you know, zombie. This is the head honcho. This is the big guy, the big scary guy. You got to be a little more on your toes about. Of course, I'm going to introduce more zombies that are probably stronger and more interesting and more refined and everything than this guy, that'll be probably rarer and have cooler drops or whatever. But for now, this guy's gotta kind of stay where he's at and be a little bit boring, because it's the boring stuff that like gives us just the generic like feel that we can then build off of and make it more stylized, I guess. All right, good news. I've made some adjustments to the zombie, and now they are a little bit easier to differentiate from the crowd. If we spawn a couple in, here we go. This is what the tank zombie is going to look like from here on out. I mean, alterations can be made later if need be, but right now I'm chill with how this looks. It has an iron helmet with the host armor trim and a redstone material. So it's like it's red. Red's scary, blood color. It's like, you know, stands out in the crowd. And if you kill it, you have a chance to get the helmet, and it's a special helmet. It's a reinforced iron helmet, which gives 2 armor more than the default iron helmet. This one is nearly broken, so it's not going to defend against much. This one I got earlier. This one's a little bit better. And I also got this disc while I was farming for these. Anyway, reinforced armor iron helmet. Pretty cool. And so that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with the pros and cons, right? It's a harder zombie, but if you kill it, you have a chance of getting a cool, unique item or something that's like maybe makes it a little worthwhile. Something that makes it feel like more involved than just surface level. We're adjusting the stats and making it hard to exist. It's just like I wanted to put more care into it, and that was something I was doing with my first attempt at this data pack too. But it was very like, it felt very clunky and very like not well integrated, and also I don't know. It just didn't feel right, you know. So it was poorly implemented, is what it was. But anyway, that about wraps up the first devlog. It's a very short little thing. I just made a zombie that's scary, that spawns naturally. But that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. I'm probably going to do a lot of tweaking and adding new ideas and stuff off camera. And so the way devlogs will pan out from here is I'll do a bunch of development, and then I'll catch you guys up to speed on what exactly it is that I've been modifying and changing, and what all the additions will look like. And then hopefully this turns into a cool little project. And hopefully this is not the only video I make on this. If you go to my video feed and this is the only video I have on this subject, either it means I haven't made a second one yet because I just uploaded it, or I abandoned it, and that's embarrassing, and you should yell at me to stop giving up on projects that I think are cool because of burnout. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Do your due diligence, you know, whatever, if you enjoyed. Take care.